Good morning, students. This is Dr. Mirza. I am back with this last chapter of your course, Controlling Logistic Performance, Chapter 21. This chapter is usually to understand why planning and control of logistics activities important process, not a once off event, and identify the standards and different types of performance and so forth. The control processes and systems, aims of control system. This is now the definition of logistic management offered by the Council of Supply Chain Management Professional CSCMP and utilized in this book emphasize not only on planning and implementation but also the control and flow of goods, services and information. Control process. Now the control includes monitoring and receiving or reviewing performance to ensure that the logistic process satisfies customers effectively, the organization resources are deployed effectively and efficiently, and corrective action is taken to performance that is in line with goals and objectives. That is a continuing change, that is the logistic planning and control cycle, which talks about it in a challenging way. But here the aims of the control, which is a strategic to achieve objectives, tactical to improve short-term performance, technical to perform according to the standards. So the logistic management implements controls and efficient, effective forward, reverse flow and storage of goods and the complete way of related information between point of origin to the point of consumption in order to meet the customer's requirements. Now the definition of control, the process is greatly influenced with various factors. The most important being, the stability of social, political, economic and technological environments in which the business functions. So here, talking about this control, the levels of control, then the particular process system which talks about the importance is, now if you see this figure 21.1, the planning and the control of logistic activities is cyclically process, which is a clinical process aimed at continuously or reviewing and revising the plans of policies and operations, as you see this figure over, which is continuously giving information is an important ingredient in the cycle. The cyclic and care should be taken that data are collected and made available at the right time, at the right form to the right decision makers. As a typical framework for the planning and control cycle, the planning and control cycle first investigates the current, that is the control, particularly current system status, as you can see here. Then it takes in for the next forward action, which is taken for the organization's logistics operations, information feedback or logistic audits used for this purpose. Next is the objectives of logistics, which have to be identified. That is, example is customer service or cost objective. This means that the organization must decide whether to be in future in the terms of market share and positioning. So the third stage, particularly in the cycle, is the planning process. That is which gives the strategy and operational plans are developed to achieve the previous stated objective. This stage will describe how the organizations plan to get to where it wants to be during its stage. Now the last stage, that is called the final stage of planning and control, which where it wants to be, effectiveness, that is planning and control, the effectiveness of logistic operation has to be compared against this plan. The organization checks to see whether it has arrived at a desired destination. Once the cycle has turned full circle, the process starts over again, as it portrays in the left column. Continually review the revision of objective plans, policies, and monitoring, if monitoring reviews and shows, and then it goes on in the particular way of how it works for the whole area. Now, talking about it, the fresh problem emerges while monitoring and reviewing phase takes the whole process back to the initial state of the analytical cycle. So this is the process of control. Now control process and system continued with strategical and tactical control are predictive. Then they are wide in focus, consider future cause and effect relation, trigger interpretation. Entrepreneurial plans include budgetary control, and then technical control systems. You can see the figure 12.2 on the next slide, that is for the measurements, and then the equating, that is here range of performances as given over here, which talks about the important in this particular way. Now how this important of ranges of performances. Now if you see these ranges of performances, which shows the importance of how the yardstick changes with its importance, that is even the closed and stable environments, single value standards show some variations. For example, a worker will never take exactly the same time to pick an order line, but the time will vary around an average value once a standard has been average value. For example, as you can see, the post efficient number of per batch or a mean, and then how much excellent, acceptable, and poor and significant. So this shows that excellent performance, while batch number 7 has performed poorly, management will have to investigate the reason for the excellent performance or so and so forth, as well as the reasons for its poor performance, and could be avoided in the future. So this is how the ranges of performance. Then we move on to the quality, that is how the concepts of quality, that is very closely related to customer service excellence, unseen process with impact on customer satisfaction, give customers what they want at a price they will pay, consistent service quality at contained cost, example quality control systems, total quality management, ISO 9000 Six Sigma, and the TQM, which is definition page number 520. You can just go and read this and understand it. Quality control ISO 9000 also is similar, you can just read it, I don't need to explain much. Performance measurements, page number 521, and then we have performance measures, page 522, 23 for soft and hard types. Dimensions of performance achievements of how my past performance, diagnostics like why I perform now. Even this will show you on the different areas of how the particular performance measurement happens for this. Now the definition objectives of performance measurement has to be taken in for those considerations. for value of a particular performance measure. Now, which types of performance measures, and then this talks about, now if this you see this figure, diagnosis performance measures are indicated, or like it's a direct measure of business achievements of the present, past and future, which is competence performance measures, and then achievement performances, which is validity to the time zero, and it is shown over here. That talks about, if you see, that is competence performance, that is nothing but measures, describes how well a business is prepared for the future or for a new market or customer requirement. There is no acceptable range for performance for this performance measures, as they focus on how well prepared the business is to stay competitive. So moving on, logistic performance measures, and then should satisfy three basic requirements: collectively measure the performance of the whole system, be quantifiable, be statistically reliable, not expensive to collect. And measures define system, main logistic 524, page number. I repeat, page number 524. Please go through this. Procurement, supplier selection. This is very clearly given in the textbook also, but still, you have the idea which we talked about procurement earlier also, which is on a particular performance, that is price reduction quota, indicates how good the purchasing staff are at negotiating and suppliers to achieve price that are lower than those paid in the open market. For example, the formula that could be price reduction quota is equal to realized object price reduction by market price index, or that is given in the textbook. You can understand and check that. Then we have average cost order, that is total cost of orders by total number of orders. Supplier selection, delivery reliability, complete shipment percentage, good parts, that is for a supplier selection. Deliver reliability is maximum delivery time minus minimum delivery time by average delivery time, and that is you have to complete shipment, measure the percentage of orders that are delivered in full without the customer having to wait for back orders, or the percentage of complete shipments, that is again number of orders delivered in full by total number of orders. Then we have key suppliers, again on the same way. You can understand it, you can get the complete details in the textbook as well. Logistic performance measures for inventory control and warehouse. Inventory control, that is inventory turnover, measures that the speed with which inventory moves through a business, and thereby also the number of times inventory is turned during the course of the year. This is an important factor when measuring asset utilization, that is cost of goods sold during a time period by average inventory valued at cost during that period, and inventory turnover for retail is cost of goods sold during a time period by average inventory valued at selling price during the time period. Now, warehouse, demand not met. Okay, I'm sorry. Demand not met is nothing but demand not met in time by total demand. That's it. That is, looks at inventory control from the customer's perspective in terms of availability of products with low availability, leading to a large number of back orders, high stock out, or cost and loss of customers. That is more important. Now, moving on to warehouse, that is where order picking time, warehouse throughput, utilization of equipment. Order picking time refers to the time it takes to pick all times on a customer's order. including order processing time, or it is equal to order processing time plus travel time for first location plus interlocation travel time, you can say, plus time for the last location and pickup time. In that is how it reaches through the order pickup time. Warehouse throughout is nothing but, you check this formula also that is given there in your textbooks also, I think. A number of loads received, placed in a storage and retrieved by the number of hours for a warehouse. Utilization time is of a equipment is nothing but warehouse operating cost per unit, that can also be used to measure for a warehouse performance. Transport is maximum transit time minus minimum transit time by average transit time, that is, and transmitter variability and perfect shipments you can reach and check your textbooks also. Benchmarking is very easy, you can have a go at it. The SCORE model, that is supply chain operational reference model, this is very important. You can have a better idea from the textbook as well, but I will just try to give you some idea about it, but I hope it will be helpful for you getting some idea on importance of knowledge. The supply chain operation reference model is a business process reference model that links to the elements of business process, re-engineering, process performance measurement, and process comparison with best practices into a cross-functional supply chain, that is, framework. The model is widely used and has been developed as an aid to monitor cost and performance. The model is a product of APEX, that is Supply Chain Council, that is APICS SSC. So the business engineering, benchmarking, process management, the latest version is 10, released in 12th version since model introduction in 1966. So you can just read about this model. I don't need to tell you much on this, gentlemen. We come to the end of this chapter, gentlemen. It was nice to be associated with you in this particular chapter and the course. I hope you all enjoyed it. I enjoyed with you being so nice students. Take care. Have a good time. All the best for your career, future. Enjoy your life. All the best for your future. Stay safe. Assalamu alaikum.